So this is probably going to be a fairly short video because it is a fairly short game, but I enjoyed it thoroughly. I played it through and I think it is well worth being shared, and it's very cute. It's called Deductopia, Hill and Dale, as you can see, and it's a kind of deduction puzzle game. We'll go through the controls in a moment. Let's have a quick look at the settings page. Unfortunately, there's no sort of full quality of live sound controls, just a single volume point. So I'm gonna set that down to minimize it. But it's just music and then some clinks when you get deductions right. We'll leave it on easy. Let's have a brief look at the credits. There's just the standard credits there. So let's jump in and we'll have a look at how to play the game, and then we can talk about the critiques afterwards. I did find it a little bit tricky to figure out because there isn't really a tutorial per se. It was just this kind of view. And what I figured out was you are someone, I guess, responsible for lost and found and helping people out. Like a ranger, although there is a ranger, so you're presumably not a ranger. And this is your little area of the woods where you're helping out, and these are all the people in this area. And so each person, including the ranger, has lost something and is looking for something, and you're trying to find out what their name is. What you need to do is, first of all, show the highlights, which are clickable things on the screen. So you can see each person is clickable. There is also this little space down here, which has a little, is that a skunk? I'm not sure. Hiding in it. There's this place over here, which has this little ring-tailed lemur hiding in it. And you have this book over here, which has some, it's a guest book, has some people's names in it, which is quite useful. And then you can click on each person. So if you click on this guy, he says, I can still get there in time for the light to hit the water just right. You can click on this person who can't finish research without the camera. Click on this guy. It says no black and white tail, that's not right. And he's looking for a water bottle, I guess. And so he has a water bottle. And he has a message from Jenny Matsuda. Will you be home for dinner, or are you still staring at bird butts? So he's looking for a bird with a black and white tail. You have this kid who his mom, you said we could go to the sands, so he wants to go to the sands. She says, not today, Harper, we have to get home before it gets dark. And you can fortunately read her thoughts. She must have missed the parking lot because the sun was in her eyes. We can read the sign, which tells us a little bit about the animals, including, which helps us, a couple of creatures who are looking for the sands, the desert tortoise and the kit fox. Let's see what the ranger is looking for, something that is running around somewhere. And also in the guest book, not the guest book. Oh, and okay, so those are all the things, clickable things we can look at, all the people and so on. I think I looked at everyone. And we can also see a lost and found box with a bunch of items in it. There is a walking cane. There is a box with a camera, so I think it's just a camera case. And Craig, please finish taking photos for the interpretive sign. There's a bird book with a black and white tailed bird in it, the yellow-billed cuckoo. There is a hat with the name Melanie on it. There is a water bottle with I love reptiles and various reptilian creatures. And there is the research camera trap for someone who is apparently trying to photograph something in a rocky location and make sure the flash is turned on, so something at night in a rocky location. Right, and so the gameplay is to show the labels, and each person has, you see, a first name and a last name, something they're hoping to see, and a lost item, and you're trying to figure out what those items are. So we are looking at this fellow who, if we hide the labels, he says he wants to get the time for the light to hit the water just right, and he's heading towards a waterfall sign. So we can assume that he wants to see the waterfall, and he has lost an item, which we're not sure about yet. But if we have a look at the guest book, oh man, there's a notes bit of scrap paper that you can take notes in, but I didn't really need that. You can see that there's someone with a cap and a walking stick called Rob Spencer. And this is the only gentleman here who has a cap. Oh man, go away. So he's the only one who has a cap and he looks like he would be holding a staff, but he seems to be missing it. So if we say that he has lost his walking cane, and we put the first name Rob in and the surname Spencer, and it goes green and also makes a dunk noise if you have sound. And that is essentially the game. So you have to find the first name, the last name, what they hope to see, and the last item based on all of the clues of the other items. So we can do just another one just to show. Let's have a look at this lady. She can't do research without her camera. Now we know from the lost and found that there is a camera pack here, which is that item there. So I'm thinking, if we show her labels, her lost and found is that pack. So she's now found her camera, and she wants to see something. If we look in the lost and found and look at her pack, something is in a rocky location, and we were able to look at the rocky location, which is the ring-tailed lemur. So if we can put that as to hope to see, and then if we look at the guest book, we can see there is a Celia Ramirez, and her pack has a CR on it. So I'm thinking Celia Ramirez is her name. So if we give her first name as Celia and her last name as Ramirez, and she goes green. And that's it. That's all I'm going to show you. You can figure out the remaining for yourself, and hopefully forget these ones and figure them out from scratch as well. But that is the gameplay for Deductopia. So let us go back to the main menu, and we can talk about this game a little bit, but that was all the gameplay I'm going to show you. So if you would like to play a rather nice and sweet little puzzle game, and maybe check out the other games that this dev has shown, please follow the link in the description, and leave a like, a comment, and a subscription if you're not already subscribed, because the engagement is good for both me and you. It boosts my channel, and more importantly, it helps you train YouTube to show you the kind of videos that you want to see in your YouTube feed, and that's, I think, a good thing. So yeah, do those things. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. If, however, you are here for the critique, well, there's quite a bit to talk about here. Look, the context is that this is a short game. It's very obviously not meant to be a long experience. So there's only so much effort you're going to put into it for somebody to just go and go, yeah, I enjoyed this short game, which I did. But things I would have liked to have seen. Firstly, obviously, as mentioned before, the quality of life sound controls, the ability to just turn the music off or just turn the music down while keeping the other sounds high and things like that. That would have been nice. I do like the fact that there is 2 different difficulty levels. So obviously, as we finished one of the people, their thing went green. If we had it on difficult, it wouldn't have gone green, and this would have been a lot harder to play. The next thing I would have liked to have seen as part of the UI complications is some kind of tutorial. It took me a while to figure out, to deduct essentially how I'm supposed to play this game. I managed to work it out, and it's kind of the first time I've played a game with this mechanic particularly. So I guess it's okay, but it would have been nice if there was a bit more instruction to how to play, unless I managed to click it off or something like that. But yeah, I have no idea. I was clicking all over the place and trying to drag things around and onto people, and it just, nothing was working. And along those lines, it would have been nice if once I did successfully highlight all of someone's stuff, if it had removed them from this display, so I didn't need to have all this other clutter confusing me and occupying my space. It would have been nice if I could hide things that I felt I was done with. Although I know, there's certain things that are potentially shared, so maybe that's not the best way to do it. But it would have been nice. Would have been nice. The sounds, the sounds, we've already complained about the sound controls. There's not much sound. I would have liked less of the sort of the cheery, happy, bouncy music, and more like wildlife sounds. The sounds of sort of a looping thing with birds and the sounds of the wind and the trees and people chattering in the distance. That kind of ambient sound would I think have been a lot more interesting than the music. The art, it's fine. It's really nice, a drawn thing. You've got a bird here and the various things to look for, and this chap looking for his birds, and I like the look of the game. It is quite simplistic, It's it's a single static screen with things you can click on. It's a nice, fun little puzzle game to keep you distracted for 10 minutes, however long, depending on how good you are at the deductions. So the game feeling is fine. In terms of the immersion, I'd like to know a little bit about who I am. I'm like a ranger, but there is another ranger. Am I a different ranger? Then I should know this guy's name. It doesn't quite make sense in my head what my motivation here is, other than trying to puzzle these out. I guess I'm a national park volunteer, and then why didn't I know the ranger's name? It's obviously I'm massively overthinking it for no real reason other than to find the immersion factors of the game, what would draw me in as a player. But this is what people think. If things are subtly out, even if they're not consciously thinking, "Oh, this doesn't make sense," they're still in the corner of their head. They're going, "This doesn't quite feel right. I don't understand what's going on here." And yeah, that's I would have liked to have seen that element in it. Where do I fit in? What is my motivation here? What is going on? Why am I puzzling this out? And what is the result of this? Where does this go in the end? How do I reach a happy conclusion? Because I fill all the things in and it just goes, well done, you filled all the things in. So once I've done it doesn't really go anywhere, and it would be nice to see a sort of a storyline, a progression, an ending, more lore in the background. And that's it. That's everything I would like to say about this. Despite the critiques, I think this is a really, really good game, and I would like to see more from this developer, and I'd like to see this game do well. So give it a visit, give the devs some love, and enjoy. And I'll see you in the next video.